Hello, this is Molly White with More to the Story of Molly White. I just wanted to come on and give you a heads up that this is going to be a two-part series. So make sure that you stay tuned for part 2. We'll see you then. Hello and welcome to More to the Story with Molly White. I'm so glad you joined me again today. And I'm here by myself. I'm traveling, so I'm in an RV up in northern New Mexico, which is a very beautiful area. And my awesome, wonderful co-host, Mary Browning, is not able to join me today. She's doing the Lord's work in Washington, D.C., and it's very important work. And when she comes back, we will be sure and ask her all about it. But I didn't want to miss this opportunity to come to you today and just to talk about some important issues. You know, life is always an important issue, and there's always news about what's going on with a life issue across the country. And so I'm just going to be talking about some of these issues. And please, like and send in a comment, after you see the show, and I'll, be happy to respond to you and read all of your comments. And would like to invite you to share these podcasts with everyone you know, because I believe this information is important, not only to educate, but to motivate, encourage our viewers and our listeners to become really more empowered and equipped to continue in this battle for life that we're in and have been in for a long, long time. Now, I do want to talk to you about some of the most recent news concerning life that I received today. If you're not a subscriber to Life News, I would encourage you to do that because they keep us informed on everything going on across the country and even across the world when it pertains to life and families. And so today I read that there's some more exciting news coming out of California. Now, California, of course, is very pro-abortion, has Planned Parenthood clinics everywhere. And I read today where their Mar Monte, the Planned Parenthood Mar Monte, it's the Abortion Giants California affiliate, has laid off 15 employees in the Fresno and Madera regions. And this is something that we believe is attributed to President Trump's recent defunding of the taxpayer-supported abortion business. So if you remember, President Trump signed a congressional bill halting federal courts or federal dollars from healthcare entities that kill babies in abortions. And combined with the provision in H.R. 1, the big beautiful bill, which banned federal Medicaid payments to abortion outlets. And so we believe that because of this bill and defunding medical payments to abortion clinics, we believe this is a direct result of Planned Parenthood and abortion clinics closing down across the country, and praise God for that. I know I've been upset about this for decades, and I'm sure you have too, that our taxpayer dollars have gone to support Planned Parenthood, pay their employees these exorbitant amount of salaries, to free up money that they can use to promote and fund and support pro-abortion legislators and candidates running for office and candidates that are already in office or elected officials already in office, and we can name a bunch of those. And so we believe that right now, because of the passage of defunding Planned Parenthood and preventing them from receiving Medicaid payments, we really believe we're going to see that abortion giant come down. And Mary and I have talked about this many times on our show, that Planned Parenthood is the largest abortion provider, not only in the United States, but in the world. They have clinics everywhere. Their bloody claws are in every country. And they make the majority of their money by providing abortion. They also provide sterilization procedures, birth control, they're very STD involved testing, in that. And even, I used to think, like, why would Planned Parenthood be involved in things like transgender surgeries and birth control and these kind of things? And it's because Planned Parenthood is all about Planned Parenthood. They are a population control organization. They want to depopulate the world. They started out by wanting to depopulate and cut down the numbers of minorities and African Americans. That's how it was founded back with Margaret Sanger. And they kept evolving to where, birth control wasn't working and keeping, women from getting pregnant. So then they developed the abortion procedures, and now very much involved in the chemical abortion, which is mifepristone, and then really involved in the LGBT and the transgender societies or their lobbying. And I mean, in those groups, in those organizations. Why? Because transgender children and people and LGBT people cannot reproduce. Everything that Planned Parenthood focuses on is to stop people from reproducing. So I'm very excited, I'm sure you're very excited, that these clinics are closing down everywhere. And don't be dismayed, because there are more pro-life pregnancy resource centers around the country than there are abortion clinics. So there is free help for pregnant women out there through these pregnancy resource centers. They can get free pregnancy testing. They can get free ultrasounds. They can get free maternity clothes. They can get all the help and support they need to continue through their pregnancy and to get help through their pregnancy. So defunding Planned Parenthood is not going to hurt women at all. In fact, it's going to save women and their children. And now I want to go back and pull up another article from Life News. And that is Texas has already passed a law that makes it illegal to send the abortion drug, the dangerous abortion drug, through the mail. And so now Louisiana is suing the FDA to stop illegal abortion pills from flooding their state. So this is happening. I'm going to look up my news article here. They sued the Food and Drug Administration on Monday, charging that the agency's 2023 policy allowing mail-order abortion drugs has unleashed a torrent of illegal shipments into the pro-life state, enabling coercion, abuse, and the deaths of countless unborn children while endangering women's health. And we have had many guests on our podcast, either women who have taken the abortion drug and the horrible consequences and aftermath that comes from that. And we've had doctors on that deal with the women. I think it's like 1 in 4 women end up in the emergency room by taking this dangerous drug, and with severe complications, anywhere from hemorrhaging to sepsis, and many life-threatening. Many women have died by taking this drug that they say is as easy and safe as taking an aspirin, which they say that, but there's absolutely no medical research, no scientific data, no proof that that's true. And they're really comparing apples to oranges. An aspirin is one thing. An aspirin helps you relieve a temperature or a headache. An abortion drug causes you to miscarry your baby and then deliver that baby. So what they say is totally a lie and misinformation. So the lawsuit was filed in the U.S. District Court in New Orleans by Attorney General Liz Muriel, and joined by Florida, Missouri, and Texas. And we seek to overturn the FDA's removal of in-person dispensing requirements, or the return. Now, hold on a minute. They seek to overturn the FDA's removal of an in-person drug responsible for in-person dispensing. I'm sorry, I'm trying to read this and got lost on it. But the removal of an in-person dispensing requirements of mifepristone. And this is the primary drug that really stops the flow of progesterone and then causes the baby to die. But when this drug, as you can go back and look at some of our other podcasts with the doctors and scientists talking about this, that this drug was rushed through from Europe to the United States under the Clinton administration, did not go through any testing or research before it was put on the market. And at the time, a woman would have to go into a clinic and, a doctor would have to give her the first pill with instructions on what to do with the other pill and the other set of pills. And so she would have to go in, have a pregnancy test and all those kind of things before she was even administered this drug. But the FDA removed all of that, and now you can order them online. And we've talked about this just real recently with one of our guests, that we don't even know where those drugs are coming from. We don't even know where they're manufactured. We don't even know if you order that drug online, is it laced with fentanyl? Is it got some other dangerous components in it? Do you know for sure how far along you are in your pregnancy? You might think you're 6 weeks, but you could be 8 weeks. Women are, over half the time, women are wrong about how far they are along in their pregnancy. And, is it a real pregnancy or is it an ectopic pregnancy? So none of these medical concerns before taking this drug are even considered if you order them online, which I discourage everyone. Do not order these drugs. Do not allow anyone else to order these drugs for you. Go see a regular OB-GYN doctor and let him or her work with you and help you through your pregnancy. Keep your pregnancy. When you end your pregnancy, especially through these drugs, it is going to not only kill your baby, but it can more than likely kill you or cause you to have horrible side effects, complications, and even could cause sterility. And we've talked about that on our podcast, and we're going to have some of our guests back on to talk about the long-term risks of abortion in your fertility rate. And I just want to add in right here. I've attended many United Nations conferences, especially the Commission on the Status of Women conference, where they are the number one pusher of abortion worldwide as a human right. And of course, it's all based on lies, misinformation. And I've gone there with teams year after year to put on educational workshops to educate delegates from all over the world about the truth, about the risk and harm of abortion, and the lies and the language that is used to deceive people into thinking reproductive health care is good, when reproductive health care means abortion on demand. So what my point was, going to the UN, is we've had incredible experts come in and talk about the health risks concerning either surgical abortion or medical abortion, which is the drugs, on a woman's health and her reproductive progress and her reproductive ability in the future. And we also had experts come in to talk about the health benefits to mother and child for keeping your baby, bringing your baby to term, delivering your baby. It's healthier for you. Of course, it's healthier for the baby, and it doesn't affect your future reproductive abilities like abortion does and like anything that does to stop your pregnancy. Am I saying that every woman's going to have a healthy pregnancy and bring the baby to term and have, no complications with pregnancy or delivery? No. But overall, it's healthier for the mother and the child to complete pregnancy and go through the birthing process, whether you choose to parent or gift your child to adoption, an adoptive family. Either way, it's healthier for you, both mentally, physically, emotionally, and psychologically. It's better for you to carry your baby to term. And of course, you can go to our website, moretothestorypodcast.org, and you can pull up all of our previous podcasts, even on YouTube and our other social media sites, and look for those podcasts that have the experts on there that talk about it. Because we want you to be informed, we want you to be educated, and we want you to choose life, because that's across the board better for you and better for your child and better for your future. So here I was off on that tangent, but let's get back here. Um, so because of Louisiana's lawsuit and Florida, Missouri, and Texas joining along with them, the pro-life community hails this action as a vital defense of state sovereignty and the sanctity of life, arguing that it halts an illegal scheme that treats unborn babies as disposable and turns abortion pills into tools for abusers. And we've had news articles, we've had people on that they were given this drug to have an abortion without their knowledge. And that happens all the time. That's going to happen with sex trafficking victims. If they get pregnant, their abusers are going to order the drug, make them take it, or slip it into a drink and cause that baby to be aborted and risk that young woman's life. We've known parents to do that to their children who are pregnant. We've known rapists to do that. So it is an open door for abuse. Plus, it's just plain against the law. So let me read on here. It says the lawsuit notes that from April to June of 2024 alone, mail-order abortion drugs sent into Louisiana from doctors and activists in other states accounted for an average of 617 abortions in Louisiana per month. And here we are, we were hoping that the overturning of Roe v. Wade was really going to damage the abortion industry and slow down the abortion rate. But because of this drug and the FDA's removal of all the safety protocols, and now it's being able to be mail ordered, we've had more abortions now than we had when Roe v. Wade was started. So we've got to work very hard to make sure this drug is not allowed, number one, to be mail ordered, but number two, to remain legal. It just needs to become illegal all the way around because it kills babies and it injures women more so than the medical abortions have. Pull it up. It's about, all right, so that overturning of Roe v. Wade and Doe v. Bolton, how many states are pro-life, how many states have put abortion in their constitution. Missouri's one of that. Missouri's where Mary Browning is from. And really, all of the language that was put in these amendments to the Constitution in these different states were completely misleading to the voters. And that's just how the abortion industry works. They lie, they deceive, they mislead, they use deceptive language, which you would think means this thing, but really means something else. Like I mentioned earlier, the United Nations uses reproductive rights a lot all the time in their documents, but what that doesn't mean about you having the right to have children, have the right to have maternal health care, it means abortion. That's all it means. And so the language in all of these amendments to the Constitution that these states have passed were misleading to the voters. And Missouri is one of the most radical ones there is. Terrence, he's my producer. I know you're back there. Is there any way, so I don't have to scroll through here and find that article you sent me, can you just resend it to me real quick via email? Or let me see if I can look it up, because you had a lot of great news articles. I got it now if I can see it. But it relates to the different states that are still pro-life and those that still have abortion. Let me see. It says, but according to Angelus News, pro-life movement readies for 2025 federal and state level policy efforts. So I'm just going to read this little clip to you, and we're going to talk about it. It says pro-life advocates are preparing a multi-pronged approach for 2025, focusing on both federal and state level policy reforms. It's a significant target is the regulation of chemical abortion pills, or the dangerous abortion drugs, with proposals to classify mifepristone and misoprostol. Those are the two drugs that you take. One kills the baby, one causes labor in contractions to expel the baby, as controlled substances, and to regulate the disposal of fetal remains. And you've heard, and it's kind of gruesome, But when women take these drugs or given these drugs, they're normally alone at home in their bathrooms when they go into intense labor without anyone there to help them, to assist them, to comfort them, to take care of them, to make sure they're not hemorrhaging. And then they deliver their dead babies in their bathrooms. And then they're faced with the trauma of not only seeing their baby with their own eyes, but what do you do with the baby's remains? And we know women flush them. Some of them have buried them in the backyard. Um, some of them have thrown them in the trash. And those are human remains. And so there needs to be regulations on how to deal with these remains. Um, so at the federal level, there are calls for the enforcement of the Comstock Act of 1873 to prohibit the mailing of abortion-inducing drugs. Other strategies include rolling back pro-choice policies from the Biden administration, which one of them I just read, that President Trump has put a halt to the Biden administration forcing all the VA hospitals to perform abortions, which is against the law, but he did it anyway. So now Trump has reversed that, stating that they cannot perform abortions at VA hospitals. So anyway, that's one of the Biden administration's policies. Strengthening conscious protections for medical professionals who object to abortion. I mean, if you want to talk about Nazi, pro-lifers, conservatives, Republicans are called Nazi by the radical Democrats. And, Nazis are the ones that force you to do things you don't want to do. It's not conservatives. Conservatives want to give people and stand up to the Constitution that we have the right to do or not to do what goes against our conscience. And that certainly should be the case for medical professionals who know that abortion is killing a child, who know that abortion is hurting babies, that they shouldn't be forced to perform an abortion. Doctors, nurses, or PAs. And so that's something that we really need to make sure gets passed. And they want to advocate a federal law that restricts abortion at a certain point in pregnancy. Well, we've read some other news articles where we're trying to really pass Life Begins at Fertilization Act, because that's true. That's when life begins. Well, and Charlie Kirk has been, it's got to begin at fertilization. That's when the process of life starts. And it continues to grow and develop until death. And what really is the truth is life begins at fertilization, because you can't begin it anywhere else. That's when you become a unique human being in your mother's womb, and you start to grow and develop so rapidly. 9 months is not very long for a human to fully develop in its mother's womb before birth. And even at 26 weeks, 22 weeks, even at 7 weeks, you can see a baby's body. So that life begins to grow until the age of 21 years old. And Charlie didn't know this. He didn't speak about this, and many other people don't when they're talking about the pro-life issue. Life begins at fertilization, and you continue to develop until you're 21 years old. That's the average for women and men. And at 21 years old and on forward, your body starts to deteriorate. It starts to decay. It starts going downhill, let's say. And, of course, God, within his infinite knowledge and wisdom and creation, he's given us stem cells and all those things to kind of keep rejuvenating our bodies so that we can continue to live and live out our life. And so, but the point is you don't stop developing until the age of 21. From the moment of fertilization, when the sperm hits the egg, until you're approximately 21 years old, you are continually developing. And then at that point, then your body starts to decline, starts to deteriorate, starts to go to the end of life process. And so that's an argument that I think all of us as pro-life people should keep in mind. It starts at a point, you continue to develop to a point, and then you start to go through the aging process after that. You're fully developed by the age of 21. So that's kind of my little step stool, or my little soapbox I wanted to stand on, but I think it's a really good talking point.
Hello, friend. Our broadcasting wanted to take a moment to personally thank you for being a listener of the More to the Story podcast. Whether you're a longtime subscriber or just found us, we're so glad you're here. This podcast is a community built on sharing, and that's where you come in. If an episode has ever resonated with you, please consider sharing it. Text it to a friend, post it on social media. Your recommendation is the most powerful way to help these important stories reach new ears. We are also inviting businesses and individuals to partner with us as official sponsors. Sponsoring the podcast is a wonderful way to reach a dedicated, thoughtful audience while directly supporting our mission. If you'd like to explore sponsoring the podcast, we invite you to visit our website at www.moretothestorypodcast.org. Again, that's www.moretothestorypodcast.org. Thank you for being a part of our story.